And of course, let's do a quick look at the Indian markets, how they've been performing this week. A good week, really. The benchmarks have advanced. It's happened for the fourth week on the trot. The Sensex has gained 1.87% in the week, and the Nifty has moved up higher. It's gone up by 1.77%. If you look at today's performance, the Nifty ended just shy of 17,700. The Sensex has held on to those 59,000 levels. And of course, we were talking about metals a moment ago. The metal index really emerged shining today. The Nifty metal index gained 4.5% this week on the whole. Cheryl is joining us. She's going to walk us through the market action, the kind that we saw over the week. Cheryl, how did we end trade today?
We've come to the end of the truncated week, and it was a flat day of trading session today. If you look at Nifty, it scaled 17,700 at one point in a day, but yes, it actually shut shop a tad below those levels. But let's talk about how the week has been for the benchmarks. So you had Nifty and Sensex both advanced for a fourth consecutive weeks, with them posting gains upwards of about 1.5%. Nifty Bank ditto, posting gains for a fourth consecutive week as well. Among the Nifty Bank, and if you talk of the banking space, it was the private sector bank that saw stellar gains this week. You had a private sector bank post gains of about 3.5%, with gains led by HDFC Bank, IndusInd Bank, Axis Bank, ICICI Bank, all of them seeing very strong up move this week. Apart from that, you have metal index that gained for 7th consecutive week, posted gains of upwards of about 4.5%. You had names like Hindalco and Nalco, rather Hindalco, NMDC and Vedanta. They were the ones that were the top gainers on the Nifty metal index for the week. Media index, on the other hand, snapped its 3-week gaining streak. Was down about 2%. It was a top sectoral loser for the week. Let's move on to other sectors then, and you had the energy index that actually gained for a 7th week in a row. It was trading higher by about 2.5% this week. Also, on the Friday's trading session, you saw Reliance Industries, ONGC, MRPL, all of them soaring in trade. Auto index as well, gaining for a second consecutive week. Pharma index, on the other hand, saw immense pressure on Friday's trading session, and for the week as well, it has snapped those gains. It snapped its 2-week gaining streak. It was down about 0.5%. And IT index as well was a week in trade. You had Infosys among the top draggers for the Nifty in Friday's trading session, and Nifty IT index has also snapped 3-week gaining streak, seeing declines of about 0.3%. So remember, this was a truncated week, and come next week as well, it is going to be a truncated trading session. So yes, volumes were low, but nevertheless, nothing to complain about. We posted 4th week of gains.
Not a bad way to go into an elongated weekend, the kind of gains that we've seen as far as the week gone by is concerned, but hoping for better always. Now, the cheer is something we see on Wall Street too. All the major indices comfortably have opened in the green. S&P 500 looks set for a 4th straight week of gains. Softer inflation data easing those fears of a steep rate hike by the Fed. The Dow Jones is currently up around 0.3 of a percentage point, and the Nasdaq is up about 0.6 of a percent. So it's doing pretty well for itself. What about oil prices? They've fallen today. Recession fears are clouding demand, and now we're looking at these prices set for a weekly gain. Brent is on track for a gain of 3% this week, and this even as it fell 14% last week on the back of rising fears of inflation and, of course, rising interest rates. The OPEC is now expecting demand to rise by 3.1 billion barrels this year, so we'll keep a track on that. Turning our attention now to the automotive sector and two-wheelers in particular. The two-wheeler maker MotoCorp has reported first quarter numbers. Their profits have surged this time, 71%, and the profit is getting reported at 625 crores. If you compare it on a year-on basis, that's the picture that's emerging on your screens. Revenues are seeing a 53% growth at 8,393 crores. And the world's largest manufacturer of motorcycles and scooters, that's MotoCorp, is now seeing a flat growth in their margins. If you look at it on a sequential basis, it has quite flattened out. My colleague who tracks the automotive sector in our research team, Shrishti Sharma, is joining us, and she's breaking this down for us. Shrishti, It seems to be like a miss on all counts for Hero MotoCorp. If you can walk through the first quarter that they've seen.
So a disappointing set coming in from Hero MotoCorp in Q1 FY23, disappointing on all the parameters. Firstly, if we talk about the revenue, this was clocked in at 392 crores versus our expectation of 8,718 crores. If we talk about the EBITDA number, that has come in at 941 crores, while we were expecting that figure to cross 1,000 crores. And also on the margin front, if we see the margins, then definitely yes, there has been an improvement when we compare it on a YOY basis, but sequentially that has been almost a flat growth for the company at 11.2% being margin clocked this time around versus our expectation of 12.5%, because do remember, most of the two-wheeler OEMs have surprised on this particular front, so some hopes were coming in on that. And lastly, if we talk about the profit figure, the company clocked in a bottom line at 624 crores versus our expectation of 796 crores. So definitely not a good set, but the commentary is somewhat on the positive side, where the Hero MotoCorp management do say that going forward in the festive season, they are expecting the demand to pick up. The rural sentiment is holding up strong right now, and they are expecting to get better. And also on the inflation front, they do mention that they are expecting that the margins could have some kind of a lever from the inflation cooling off from the higher points, and also the price hikes that the company has been taking should also be supported. Going forward in the festive season, we'll also be looking at what are their plans and what's the condition on their EV launch.
Yes, those are the points we're going to be watching out for when it comes to the big two-wheeler maker. In fact, looking at the SIAM data as well for two-wheeler, those sales have gone up month on month, and we'll talk about that. It's about an 8 to 9% growth that we are seeing. More on the SIAM data in just a moment. But meanwhile, we're talking about earnings. LIC has also declared their quarterly results, and the Life Insurance Corporation, the PAT for them now stands at 683 crores for the first quarter. And this against the roughly 3 crore rupees kind of number that they reported for the same period last year. Year on year, there is quite a big increase. The net VNB margin now stands at 13.6% for LIC for the first quarter, which is, of course, 213 bips kind of drop that we are seeing sequentially. It's on the back of the kind of product mix that they have. While we are on earnings, let's bring up oil major ONGC too. They reported a 251% jump year on year in their first quarter standalone profit, which has come in at 15,205 crores against the number of 4,334 crores, which was reported in the year ago period. The PSU Oil Explorer's revenues from operations have gone up about 84% to 42,321 crores in the first quarter. And ONGC's operating margin has also improved about 49.5% during the June quarter against 32% in the first quarter of FY22. So when you see it on a consolidated basis, ONGC's profits have nearly doubled to 11,937 crores, and their revenues have shot up to 1,82,894 crores. Overall, the numbers are pretty much in line with estimates. And I was telling you about the SIAM data on automobiles, the kind of sales numbers that the automotive sector is doing in India. We got these numbers from the Society of Indian Automobile Manufacturers, SIAM like we know it, and they've released the July numbers. They're showing a kind of jump, which is 10% from 15.42 lakh units. They've gone up to 17.06 lakhs in July itself. My colleague Danish is joining us, and he's going to walk us through the kind of numbers that we are getting from SIAM. How's the picture shaping up for the automotive sector as we go into a full-fledged festive season, Danish?
The Society of Indian Automobile Manufacturers has released the wholesale data for the month of July, and according to the data, overall vehicle sales in the country have risen by over 10.50%. Talking about passenger vehicles now, passenger vehicle segment saw a jump by 11% YOY, especially talking about SUVs. SUV sales registered a growth of over 10.50%. Two-wheeler sales have also risen by 10%, and the major thing to notice is that this time around in July 2022, there has been some demand for the entry level two-wheelers. Besides this, three-wheelers registered a major jump of over 70% YOY. However, Siam feels that still the demand for entry-level two-wheelers of passenger cars and three-wheelers is still down if we compare this to at least 3 years back. Besides this, SIAM has also said that the recent steps that the government has taken to control the gas prices, the customers will only get benefited if these companies pass on the benefit to the consumers, and the CNG sales will also not take a hit. Besides this, Siam has also cautioned that with the recent third rate hike by RBI might dent some consumer demand, because most of the cars or the vehicles that are being bought in the country are being done by arranging funds from the banks. Overall, if we see the average jump in passenger vehicle sales in the month of July, or the overall vehicle sales in the month of July, have risen by at least 10%.
All right, Danish, that's the automotive story and how it's developing as far as demand is concerned, and we'll see how much festive season really pulls in the numbers for them. On the political front, the Bihar Chief Minister Nitish Kumar again is denying that he harbors any ambition to become the Prime Minister of the country. Nitish Kumar is saying that he had no such thoughts, but also that he is going to work to unite all the opposition parties. His deputy, the Deputy Chief Minister of Bihar, Tejasvi Yadav, has gone ahead and met the Congress interim President Sonia Gandhi in Delhi. Of course, as far as Yadav is concerned, he says that Nitish Kumar's decision is a timely slap to the BJP, as the people are tired of unemployment, of inflation and religious clashes. But here's what we got from the Chief Minister of Bihar, Nitish Kumar, what he had to say about prime ministerial ambitions.
लेकिन आपको पीएम के चेहरा के तौर पे देखा जा रहा है।
देखिए भाई, एक बात हम हाथ जोड़ कर कहते हैं, वो सब मेरे मन में कोई बात नहीं। वो कहता रहे, हमारे नजदीक भी कह देता, हम प्रणाम करते, छोड़ो ना भाई। हमारा काम है सबका काम करना, और हम कोशिश करेंगे कि सभी दल मिल करके एक साथ चलें। विपक्ष वाले तो बहुत अच्छा होगा, एक साथ मिल करके रहेंगे तो लोगों की समस्याओं के लिए बात करेंगे और समाज में अच्छा वातावरण रहे, इसके लिए सब मिल करके कोशिश करेंगे।